Exactly 24 hours ago, a video of considerable importance has appeared in the public domain, and its implications are profound. As someone who has dedicated years to investigating the roots of this story, I can say with absolute certainty that this marks a crucial turning point in the narrative we have accepted for years. Meghan Markle's lawyers, as was entirely predictable, have entered what I can only describe as strategic panic. Cease and desist letters, emergency calls, the legal machine in full motion, but, as we shall see, it is too late. The damage, if we can call it that, is already done. The footage in question shows someone who, according to all available visual evidence, is Meghan Markle on a luxury yacht in the Mediterranean, summer 2016. 3 months, exactly 3 months before her first encounter with Prince Harry. The woman in the video is clearly at an exclusive party, sharing intimate moments with an older gentleman of considerable wealth. And therein lies the central problem for those who have invested so much in her public narrative. But to truly understand what this means, we need to go back and examine something that has remained in the shadows for far too long. I have investigated sufficiently to know that this is not mere speculation. There exists a well-established circuit in global elite circles. Young, beautiful women with ambitions in the entertainment world are recruited for what is euphemistically known as entertainment services on the yachts of multimillionaires. The money is considerable, between £20,000 and £100,000 sterling for a single night, simply to attend to look beautiful and to entertain. This is not new. It is a system that has existed for decades, frequented by Saudi princes, Russian oligarchs, American magnates. And the important thing I have discovered is that certain intermediaries, certain places, certain circles facilitate these connections. Names like Bella Hadid, Hailey Bieber, even members of the Kardashian families have been associated with this world. I am not making accusations, I am describing documented fact. It is like telling someone that Hollywood exists. These circuits exist. And then the uncomfortable question arises, where does Meghan Markle fit into this picture? As a biographer, I have learned that financial inconsistencies are often the thread that, when pulled, unravels an entire, carefully constructed narrative. Between 2011 and 2017, Meghan was an actress on Suits. The salary is public domain, $50,000 per episode. Multiply that by season, subtract taxes and agent commissions. We are talking about approximately $450,000 annually. It is respectable money. In many parts of the world, it would be a fortune. But Los Angeles is not many parts of the world. Now, examine her social media activity during 2014 to 2016. What we see is the record of a life lived on a completely different scale than her documented salary would allow. Constant international travel, not occasional vacations, but an itinerant pattern of life among the world's most expensive destinations. Ibiza, Turkey, Italy, Malta, 5-star hotels. Clothing from the most exclusive designers, Givenchy, Burberry, Dior. A critic might say, perhaps she had saved money, but the pattern is too consistent, too sustained. And here is the crucial point. Her blog, The Tig, did not generate these levels of income. Her previous marriage to Trevor Engelson did not connect her to wealth of that magnitude. So, as an investigator, I must ask myself, where was the money coming from? During my investigations, one name and one place have surfaced repeatedly: Soho House and Marcus Anderson. Meghan had a well-documented association with Soho House, the ultra-exclusive members club. She was not simply a member, she was constantly there. And crucially, she was extraordinarily close with Marcus Anderson, a senior executive in the organization. He appears with her in photograph after photograph. They traveled together, he introduced her to people of importance. And here is where biographical analysis becomes particularly revealing. Marcus Anderson has a significant connection to Ron Burkle, an American billionaire and major shareholder in Soho House. Burkle owns a fleet of yachts, and what is more important, he has been associated in previous investigations with facilitating what we might call entertainment services for wealthy clients. Do you see where this is going? Then, in July 2016, precisely when the video was supposedly filmed, something happens that has been presented to the public as serendipity. Meghan meets Prince Harry. The official narrative is that a mutual friend introduced them to a casual encounter. a fortuitous connection between a prince and a television actress. But when you examine the threads, when you pull at the connections, you find that this mutual friend, as is surprisingly consistent in Meghan's life during this period, has links to Soho house circles. What we are asked to believe is that a television actress working on a cable program randomly met the sixth in line to the British throne, and that, months later, she would be sailing toward the most important royal family in the world. As an investigator who has spent years studying patterns of power and connection, I must tell you, that is too convenient. Now let us examine the footage itself, because the details are where truth resides. The video was filmed on a phone from a distance on the deck of a yacht. The quality is typical of casual recordings, background music and champagne, laughter, the atmosphere of an exclusive luxury party. And at the center is someone who, according to all available visual evidence, is Meghan Markle. Her lawyers have argued mistaken identity, but when you examine the visual evidence scientifically, the argument crumbles rapidly. The bracelet is the first indicator. The woman in the video wears a gold Cartier love bracelet on her right wrist. It is not common jewelry, it is an iconic piece, and Meghan has worn it publicly on dozens of occasions. In her official engagement interview in photographs of the royal family, in Instagram posts, it is her signature piece practically. The hair is identical in length, color, and style. Warm brown with blonde highlights, loose waves, side part. Compare this with photographs of Meghan from June to August 2016, and the similarity is indistinguishable. The gestures are particularly revealing. Anyone who has studied Meghan in interviews would recognize these movements. The specific way she gesticulates when speaking, the particular tilt of her head, the way she touches her hair. These are biological markers as distinctive as fingerprints. And then there is the chronology. The video is supposedly from the Mediterranean in July 2016. Meghan's Instagram record from that period shows documented travels to Malta and Italy. Malta and Italy are in the Mediterranean. The timing not only fits, it fits perfectly. But here comes what has motivated the legal panic. There is a section of the video that is absolutely incriminating in terms of narrative. Meghan is dancing with an older man. 60s, maybe 70s by all appearances. He wears a Patek Philippe watch that costs more than a middle-class house. Best designer clothing throughout, and they are not dancing like strangers who just met. His hands are on her waist, low. Her arms are around his neck. The interaction is intimate, familiar. She leans in, whispers something in his ear. He laughs, throws his head back with what I can only describe as a laugh of pleasure. This is not the dynamic of pleased to meet you. This is the dynamic of people who are comfortable with each other. Who has a relationship? The identity of this man is, naturally, the focus of considerable attention. Theories range from a Saudi businessman known for his yacht parties to a Russian oligarch. Whoever he is extraordinarily wealthy. And crucially, he is completely comfortable with someone who looks exactly like Meghan Markle. Now, let us reflect on this from Prince Harry's perspective, because this is where the human tragedy of this situation becomes evident. He met Meghan 3 months after this video was supposedly filmed. She presented him with a narrative, a hard-working actress, an ambitious but irreproachable woman, a victim of British media, someone simply pursuing her dreams. Did she mention the constant international travel, the lifestyle that vastly exceeded her salary, the yachts, the wealthy older men? It is unlikely. And here, as a biographer, I must make an observation. I have studied the lives of many notable people, and rarely is it what is hidden that surprises me. It is generally the obvious that nobody wanted to see. And yet, after this, we are asked to accept Meghan as a voice for women's rights, as a defender of feminism, as a victim of patriarchy. She joined the royal family and immediately instructed them on how they needed to modernize for her vision. She sat with Oprah Winfrey and described life as a duchess, with all its considerable advantages, as so traumatic that she considered taking her own life. Now, I am an observer of human nature. I have written about powerful people, public figures, people with access to extraordinary resources, and what I can tell you is this: true difficulty looks very different. True difficulty is working 3 jobs to keep a roof over your head. It is caring for sick parents while raising children alone. It is serving in conflict zones, knowing you might not return. That is genuine difficulty. Living in palaces, wearing dresses that cost £30,000, attending galas with staff dedicated to anticipating your needs. That is not difficulty. It is, for most human beings, winning the lottery. The contradiction is frankly astonishing. She has positioned herself as a champion of women's rights, while supposedly using her appearance and sexuality as instruments to extract financial resources from wealthy men. Where is the empowerment in that? She complains of media objectification while supposedly self-objectifying on exclusive yachts for financial gain. She claims to desire privacy, but spent years actively cultivating a public presence, obsessively networking, strategically positioning herself until achieving what apparently was her ultimate goal, a royal alliance. You cannot have it both ways. It is simply not possible. What is particularly revealing is Meghan's response. In every previous controversy, there has been an immediate response. Lawyers mobilize. Threats of lawsuits are sent, retractions are demanded. The public relations machine goes into full motion. But with this, there is silence, complete silence. No press statement, no public denial, simply nothing. As an investigator, I understand why. It is the Streisand effect. Denying something makes it more visible. Suing in court opens discovery, which means depositions, which means people from that world potentially being called to testify. Truth, as tends to happen, would have opportunity to emerge. It is better, from a certain strategic perspective, to let it disappear, to allow mainstream media to ignore it, as they mostly have been, to hope it fades in a few weeks. But that is not going to happen. Twitter is on fire. Hundreds of thousands of posts. On TikTok, there are frame-by-frame analyses. On Reddit, there are threads extending 27 pages deep. Even her most loyal defenders are beginning to show signs of what I can only describe as cognitive dissonance. I have studied public communication movements sufficiently to know that when you see defenders beginning to say things like, well, if this is really her, narrative collapse has begun. And this is only the first crack. If Meghan was really participating in this yacht lifestyle between 2014 and 2016, there is more, much more videos, more photographs, more people who were there, crew members, other guests, evidence of all kinds. And some of these people are, by all indications, ready to talk. The reasons vary. Perhaps they are resentful because she ascended and became famous while they remained in the shadows. Perhaps they are tired of her victim act. Or perhaps they simply believe the truth should be known. Whatever the reason, the floodgates are opening. As a biographer, I have dedicated my career to separating reality from narrative, to examining what people say about themselves versus what evidence suggests is true. And what the evidence suggests in this case is that Meghan Markle has spent years constructing a carefully orchestrated myth. A story of a hard-working LA girl who through talent and determination reached the world stage. A story of a woman unjustly attacked by racist media. A story of someone simply seeking privacy and peace. But the reality, according to this mounting evidence, is considerably more complicated. It is the story of a woman willing to do whatever it took to ascend. A woman who used connections, who used her appearance, who positioned herself strategically until she obtained her ultimate goal, a title, a prince, access to power. And once she obtained that, she rewrote her story, turning herself into the victim, the misunderstood woman, the wronged duchess. This is the truth that is emerging, and it is only the beginning. There is more coming, much more.